Loneliness, a truly inescapable feeling. We've all felt lonely at some point, but what happens to a person that lives in loneliness 24/7? An event or sequence of events causing this person to never leave their house and become a recluse. A person filled with social anxiety and inability to have a normal human interaction. I like to call this character archetype literally me. Due to the nature of these characters, you rarely ever see them portrayed in fiction in a serious way. The only instances I can think of don't really capture the mental toll that it would take on your brain. I think the only real way to portray this topic in media is to make an entire game around it. I want something that grips me, that gives me interested on a character who cannot leave their house. That takes us to the topic of this video. A game. A game about a girl who has crippling anxiety. A game about the events that lead up to that anxiety. And a game about milk. Milk inside a bag of milk inside a bag of milk. I first heard about this game through my brother. He doesn't show me stuff that often, but when he does, I usually like it. Here are some examples of stuff he's shown me and I've really liked. I was a bit skeptical at first. I'm not a huge visual novel fan, and to be honest, the art style of the game isn't that appealing on a first glance, I will admit, but I was won over by the price tag. The game was only $1, and plus the premise is pretty interesting. As said by the Steam page, a short story about what sort of challenges everyday little things can be. Help the girl buy milk. Be the first not to disappoint her. A game about buying milk. Guess there's no point in waiting. Let's just get to it. Help me buy milk. This order exudes panic. All capitals. It blinks in and out. It makes it feel like more of a beg than an order, especially when contrasted to your response.
Okay.
And also I would like to mention the picture on top. A gas station. Simple but recognizable. The way there are stray pixels to show extra detail but almost have the opposite effect, making it feel more fuzzy but still familiar. It has its own original style that fits perfectly for the game. I'll get to it a little bit more later on, especially with one particular scene. Just absorb the art as you're watching this video, it's great. Write down your name. Let's go with Yanni, also known as my name. I walked down the road to the store and rehearsed my speech. It's been so long since I've been out of the house, I completely forgot what words to say when entering a store. I'm going to the store! You're presented with your first dialogue option. The first, a normal confused reaction.
Who are you talking to?
The second, a more brash and rude response.
Shut up and go already.
Picking the rude option, we get this line of dialogue. Hey, aren't you supposed to help me? Picking the more normal option, our character goes on to say she imagines herself as if she were in a video game. One where her thoughts are displayed on screen for the viewer to see. After both dialogue options, our main character, or Milk Girl as we'll be calling her from now on, goes on to rehearse her speech for the cashier. After that, she gets worked up and you have to calm her down. And you point out how she's been walking with one foot on the pavement and one foot on the grass. With instructions from you, Milk Girl almost compulsively retraces all of her steps through the grass, unintentionally dealing more damage than she would have if she just stopped walking on the grass. After that, it skips forwards to you and Milk Girl entering the store. And Milk Girl approaches the first person she sees. Oh. Excuse me, what? Oh. Excuse me, what? Oh. This goes on for a while. He's trying to scare me, but how does he know that I'm terrified by the letter O? Milk Girl offers to show you what makes the letter O so terrifying to her. But it will cost her a dozen nerve It's implied that thinking causes physical pain to her. It's kind of a throwaway line, but definitely gets expanded on in the sequel. Milk Girl continues the conversation until she asks the question, Oh? Oh! And the man crawls away.
You just repeated after him, and it worked. Do it more often.
Wait, I said he crawled away. Did he really crawl away? I mean, I didn't even look in his direction. You just denied that she ever said crawled away. You and her banter about it for a minute before moving on and going to the milk aisle. You coach her on what to do when she has the milk. You know, go to the register and buy it, albeit a bit sarcastically. And she gets a little put down by this. Right here?
What do you expect me to say?
I guess something like, not here?
Not here. Take the bag and go to the cash register.
I guess the first sentence. And you, as if out of spite, didn't pause before the second one. You want to rob me of my little victories? I sigh and reach out to take the milk. Or rather, the bag with the milk inside. Or rather, a bag of milk inside of a bag. Or rather, a bag of milk inside of a bag of milk. Or rather, a bag of milk inside of a bag of milk inside of a bag. Or rather, a bag of milk inside of a bag of milk inside...
Come on, 15 minutes before the store closes, hurry up!
And bringing it back to the beginning, Milk Girl finally remembers what game genre this is supposed to be. Visual novels. You tell the Milk Girl that she needs to hurry up or else she'll get it at home. Milk Girl walks up to the register, and the cashier looks like E.T. on K.E.T., if you catch my drift. Milk Girl asks if she can have the milk. No. She pleads with him just to let her have it. No.
Hey.
What?
They hate you! You are pathetic! Pay for the milk.
Only halfway through the game, and we have acquired milk. Leaving, Milk Girl equates the tugging from the heavy milk bag to physical therapy, which as someone who's been in physical therapy is weirdly accurate. Walking past a gas station, Milk Girl compares the walk to a bar of ice cream. The store to the gas station being the stick, and the gas station to the home being the ice cream. Classic mental illness. I will not elaborate on that thought. I'm trying to keep my balance. And how do people move over something as uneven as the city plane? It's hard to describe this to someone who hasn't had messed up legs, but certain surfaces, like, you know, the city plane, can be very uneven, and it can mess up your balance. That feels like it genuinely came from somewhere, you know? And that's a big thing I like in this game. Little things just feel so realistic. Somehow the words perfectly encapsulate that, and the weird thoughts of the characters' heads. Little things like mental illness or physical hardships are represented so well within one or two sentences encapsulated in these little lines of text on a visual novel. That was unscripted, by the way. If it wasn't obvious already, I'm pretty sure this has something to do with the physical therapy line. Continuing to walk and focusing on their steps, they nearly avoid a bear rushing by them. And by bear, the game means a truck. At this point, I think it's pretty obvious we cannot trust what Milk Girl sees. A bear seen as a truck, the cashier being alien-like, the random customer just saying, oh. I'll delve deeper into this point later, but I think we can comfortably say that most stuff we've seen has not happened, at least not in the way presented. You and Milk Girl continue to walk. She talks about how when she's walking, it feels like all the traffic lights work with her to get her home quickly. Clouds form above her, and the rain covers her tears. You can challenge that by asking if it's all in her head, and if you further that questioning, you get a game over, as if Milk Girl cannot take that possibility, like it's the one thing she has. Since she's a visual novel character, she wants to talk directly to the reader. Keep in mind, this is still all in her head. She places a thought block and sits on a bench. She starts by talking about how her medications have become less and less effective, implying that at the end she will die. She hopes it will be painless. Kinda suggesting she has some sort of terminal illness, such as cancer, for example. She's just like me for real. She says she wants to not name her diagnosis. She wants you to see her for who she is. She then asks how it's like to see the world how she sees it. After an incident, all she can see is red. She then asks us to not inquire about the incident. I said promise, but the game did not register this, and she said it anyways. This is the section where the art style really sticks out. She shows you a thought and asks you what you see. Anything is really hard to make out in this section, so it becomes this Rorschach test. I was playing this on call with a friend and had him guess. He said a face. Anyway, this is my dad. Some of his parts at least. We do have a difficult family, but despite all our problems, I never would have thought. Sorry, I shouldn't have raised my voice. Anyway, he jumped out of the window and died. This is my last memory, then a long gap. She then goes on to say how this was the first time in a long time that she was able to go to the store without incident. Because of your help. It seems to me that there are some boundaries in our communication. I just wanted to show that. That's one of my favorite gags in this entire game. By the way, this game is funny. She then goes on to monologue about how much of a help you've been, and your help making it easier to do stuff she could not do normally. When I played this the first time, I sat at this section for like 5 minutes. You advise her to go home, and you and them walk the rest of the way. The medicine wore off, so she's able to just enjoy the silence. Look over the railing. Walk up to the door. Did you bring the milk? Hi, Mom. Did you bring the milk? Yes, Mom. Did your new medicine help? Yes, Mom. Go to bed. Yes, Mom. And the game ends. Let's start this breakdown with something easy. And don't worry, this breakdown is not of the mental variety. The story, the lore if you will. Milk Girl, a very mentally ill girl and a potentially physically ill one as well. Mentions of a potential end after the medication stops working, and mentions of physical therapy. Her family life isn't that great either. It's implied to be abusive with lines like these. And on top of that, the mounting stress caused her dad to commit suicide, which Milk Girl sees and is deeply traumatized by, even implying to be the start of her mental issues. Sometime after this, her mother sends her out to get milk. That's where the game starts. And one thing playing the game correctly doesn't outright tell you, who are you? Like, who are you as the character talking to Milk Girl? Well, if you get a game over, looks like Janie doesn't help me at all. I guess I'll try something else next time. You are the medicine, or a split personality created by the medicine, or the personality is affected by the medicine. It's a bit unclear. Even the split personality part is a bit implied, and I'm not even sure, really. The story in a literal sense is pretty simple, but I think thematically and metatextually, it says a lot more. I just made those words up. It's pretty clear this game has a lot to say about mental health, anxiety, trauma, and medication. I'm gonna start this off by saying, I don't want to upset anyone. I'm no expert, so if I say something wrong, no I didn't, and if I did, it wasn't that bad anyways. If I had to take a guess, and using the Milk series wiki as kind of a guide, Milk Girl probably has OCD, some sort of schizophrenic type disorder, and some sort of personality disorder. OCD comes from the part in the beginning where she has to retrace her steps on the grass, even though it doesn't make that much logical sense. Schizophrenia comes from the thing she sees not being real, and also the voice in her head. The conversation with the O guy, in its entirety, is ambiguous. I don't think he was actually saying oh, but I'm not sure he was even real to begin with. And the personality disorder comes from her personality. I have a feeling it's kind of made intentionally ambiguous what her diagnoses are, as if it's kind of being more of a general mental health, general disorder type thing. I don't think it fits into any peg because I don't think it's supposed to. It's about the experience of having a mental health problem. I may not be as mentally ill as Milk Girl, but I've definitely had my issues with it. It speaks a lot to me. I may not be the most mentally stable person, and that kinda, it connects, you know? I see myself in Milk Girl. Like, I have this connection with the character because I've also had problems. And I think that's a lot of the message this game is trying to say. The first Milk game is great, however, the second one is even better, in my opinion. Play the game, play the sequel, please. It's called Milk Outside of a Bag of Milk, Outside of a Bag of Milk. Or alternatively, tell me down in the comments to well, you should still play the game, but tell me down in the comments if you want me to cover it. This was originally supposed to be a video about both games, but I wanted to make a smaller video in between the last video and a bigger project I'm working on. It's in editing right now. It should only be like a couple weeks out after this at most. So be prepared for that. I didn't really want a big gap in between uploads, you know?
Hi, to me. I need subscribers. I have a YouTube channel, and Jenny watches my channel, and yeah, and also I just realized I'm smushing slime while saying this. This is so sad.
So like, subscribe, sacrifice a goat in my name, turn off the video before the end card like a normal person.